Hello student, this is star 131 class. Today we are having module 1 unit 2, and the title of today's unit is data. In this unit, student will be able to explain what data is, classes of data, and how to collect data. Student will also know different scales of measurement with examples as well as different types of sampling method. To start with, what is data? Data can as well refer to as a set of data. The word data is the plural of the Latin word datum. In practice, the word data is used both as singular and plural in English. We shall use it in both senses. Some of the times we shall talk of a set of data. A set of data means a set of information about certain individual, objects, or person. Data is the statistician's name for information. For example, the set of information containing such as item as name, sex, which we also refer to as gender, date of birth, height, weight, religion, nationality of each member of a class of students, offering STA 131 is a set of data. We have two classes of data. There is something called numerical data as well as statistical data. Numerical data is numerical if the value of interest has numerical values. For example, age, weight, height of a person, and so on. They are all numerical in nature. However, if the values are non-numerical, as in the case of sex, which we also call gender, religion, nationality, or social classes, then some random variable may be divided on the set of values to extract the relevant information of interest in numerical data form. For example, on sex, we can use 0 to stand for male and 1 to stand for female, but such are just for classification. They are not arithmetic. You cannot use arithmetic operation with them because they are non-numerical. The second one is what we call statistical data. A data is said to be statistical. A data is said to be a statistical data if it is numerical. A qualitative or categorical data is made into as statistical data by defining an appropriate random variable x on its set of values. For example, a non-statistical on data that is converted as statistical data are gender, the same gender. Male, we use 0, 1 for female. Religion, under religion we have Christianity, we have Islam, we have others. We can use 0 to stand for the Christianity, 1 to stand for Islam, and 2 to stand for others. There are some source of data, that is, how do we collect data, source of data, how to collect data. The first one is by questionnaire by post. The questionnaire will be designed and sent out through post office or email to the assigned or targeted respondents. It can also be by interview, questionnaire by interview. The enumerator will visit the respondents and directly ask the questions on the questionnaire and fill it, or guide the respondent in filling the responses. The third one is official record. We can collect data through official record. These are data formulated by individual staff of an establishment or student record taken during registration. Another way of collecting data is business activities record. These are data collected from companies, industries, firms, stock exchange, and so on, majorly on their activities like transaction, profits, productions, prices of goods and services. Another method of collecting data is through census. This has to do with complete enumeration of everybody in a locality, state, nation, or continent. The next one is through statistical survey. These are data collected by design. The population will be subdivided into smaller units, and information will then be collected from a fractional part of each smaller unit to represent the entire population. The next one is by planned experiments. These are data collected through experiments, which can be on the field or laboratory. We also have type of data. There are two types of data. We have primary data and secondary data. Primary data, a data which an investigator collected for a purpose of inquiry into a particular problem and used for the same purpose inquiry. This is done through statistical survey or direct observation. That is what we refer to as primary data. That is, you collect it for one particular purpose and you use it for that particular purpose. While the second one is the secondary data which is not originated by the investigator, but which the investigator obtained from someone else's record, is called secondary data. Example are data collected from CBN on price of commodities or on inflation rate, data collected from Federal Road Safety Corps on accident, on number of accidents, or data collected from police station on number of crimes committed over time, and so on. Now, we also have 6 scales of measurement. There are 4 of them. We have nominal scale, we have ordinal scale, we have interval scale, as well as a ratio scale. Now we are not going to take them one after the other. The nominal scale, this is for identification. It classifies data into mutually exclusive, all inclusive categories into which there's no order or ranking. It can be imposed on the data. No ranking, no order can be imposed on such data. Nominal is the lowest level. When we talk of scales, is the lowest level. Only names are meaningful here. Only names are meaningful here. Nominal variable classify data into categories. This process involves labeling categories, then counting frequencies of occurrences. Example of nominal data are your name. Name you bear is a good example of nominal scale. Then color, the color of your clothes, color of your car, or the color of your house. Number plate is a good example of a nominal scale. Marital status, whether you are married or single, your occupation, and so on. The next one is ordinal scale. This one has an additional property of ordering. That's only we call ordering. That is, that's only we call ranking. In this particular one, it's classified data into categories that can be ranked. Differences between the rank do not exist. That is it. It doesn't exist. Ordinal add an order to the name. Ordinal variable order or rank data in terms of degree. Ordinal variable do not establish numerical differences between data points. It doesn't exist. They indicate only that one data point is ranked higher or lower than another. Example of ordinal scale are levels. Your level in the university, whether you are non-level, 200 level, 300 level, and so on. And also the grading system in the university at the end of your program. Maybe you come out with a first class, maybe you come out with a second class upper, or second class lower, or a third class, or pass, which is the least. The next one is what we refer to as interval scale. Interval scale. This also has an additional property of no true zero. This particular one classifies data that can be ranked, and at the same time differences between one particular group and the other are meaningful. However, there is no meaningful zero. There is no meaningful zero in this particular one. No true zero. That is, the ratio are meaningless. Interval has meaningful differences. Interval variables score data. Thus, the order of data known as well as the precise numeric distance between data points. Examples are the temperature. If the temperature is 0, that does not mean nobody exists in such environment. People will be living there, will be sleeping when the temperature is 0. That is why we refer to this as what? No true zero. Intelligence questions. If a student should score 0 maybe in an examination, that does not mean the student is a dollar. No, maybe he failed to read for that particular course, or is meeting the course for the first time, or he has not even heard of that area before. That's why he scored 0. So then the next one, your score in a test, as I've said that one. So the next one is a ratio scale. Ratio scale, that is the last one in the scale. This particular one also has an additional property of true zero. That is, when you see any zero, that zero has meaning. It has meaning. This particular has classified data. The classified data can be ranked. The differences are also meaningful, and there is a true zero. True ratio exists between the different units of a measure. Ratio are the zero, so that ratio are meaningful. The examples are the height of somebody. If somebody's height is 0, that means that person does not exist. Or somebody's age is 0, that means that person does not exist. That is why we call it a true zero scale. It's a true zero scale. If somebody's weight is 0, that means that person does not exist, and so on. The next we are going to look at is different types of sampling. Different type of sampling. We are going to look at 5 of them. The 5 of them. The first one is random sampling. The next one is systematic sampling. The next one is convenient sampling, and the next one is stratified sampling, while the last one is cluster sampling. So the random sampling in which data is collected using chance method or random numbers. Random sampling is analog to putting everyone's name into a hat and drawing out several names. Each element in the population has an equal chance of occurring. That is, they have equal chance of being picked to represent that particular population. While this is a preferred way of sampling, it is often difficult to do. It's required that a complete list of every element in the population be obtained. Computer generated lists are often used with random sampling. The next one is systematic sampling. Systematic sampling. Sampling in which data is obtained by selecting every case of object. Systematic sampling is easier to do than random sampling. In systematic sampling, the list of elements is counted off. That is, every kth element is taken. This is similar to lining everyone up, numbering of 1 to n. The first one will be taken at random, maybe between 1 and 9. Between 1 and 9 will be picked. If you pick 4, you can now say every 10th. So if the first one is 4, the next one will be 14. The next one after 14, you take 24, 34, 44, 54, 64, and so on. When done numbering, all people number 4 will be used. Then the next one is convenient sampling. Sampling in which readily available data is used. That is why we call it convenience. You don't need to do much, you don't need to put in more effort. Just use the data that is available. Convenience sampling is very easy to do, but it is probably the worst technique to use. In convenience sampling, readily available data is used. That is the first set of people the surveyor runs into. So you don't need to run around. Just the people will see, you make use of them and move forward. The next one is stratified sampling. Sampling in which the population is divided into groups called strata according to some characteristics. Each of these strata is then sampled using one of the other sampling technique, like the simple random sampling. Stratified sampling also divide the population into groups called strata. However, this time it is by some characteristics, not geographically. For instance, the population might be separated into male and female. That's a good factor, male and female, so that you sample male within male and you sample female within female. A sample is taken from each of these strata using simple random or systematic or convenient sampling. The next one is a cluster sampling. Sampling in which the population is divided into groups, usually geographical location. As we have it in Nigeria today, we can use our geopolitical location, like southwest, southeast, north central, northwest, north central, and so on. Some of these groups are randomly selected, and then all of the elements in those groups are selected. Cluster sampling is accomplished by dividing the population into groups, usually geographically. These groups are called clusters or blocks. The clusters are randomly selected, and each element in the selected clusters are used. Thank you. God bless you. So in our next class, we shall look at frequency distribution. Thank you. Make sure you look at your test assignment. Make sure you look at your assignment and make sure you study well. Thank you. We'll meet in the next video. Thank you.